In the headlines, Nigeria to begin evacuation of students stranded in Sumi. Suspended DCP Abba Kyari pleads not guilty to be transferred to prison as his co-defendants plead guilty to drug trafficking charge. 5 die evacuating sand in Kano. Another foreign scene, Moscow to open humanitarian corridors as preparation for third round of peace talks commence. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ila. Thank you for joining. Now, the federal government is to commence the evacuation of students stuck in Sumy, Ukraine on Monday. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, stated this in a tweet on Sunday. Onyema said the announcement follows the Foreign Minister of Ukraine, Shina Aleghis, approval to establish a humanitarian corridor and authorize evacuation of Nigerian students from Sumy. However, Onyema noted that a major challenge to the evacuation is how to transport the students out of Sumy. The announcement is coming hours after reports of the horrific situation the over 300 Nigerian students in Sumy are facing. Over 300 Nigerian students are said to be stuck in the northeastern city, where they have been largely cut off from the rest of the country owing to the shellings by Russia, which had left a part of the city without electricity and water. Now, as the Russia-Ukraine crisis enters its 10th day, Nigerians are still being evacuated from Ukraine. Now, Eddie Dombraye is the head coach Lobby Stars, whose family is stranded at the Ukrainian border waiting for evacuation. In an exclusive interview with Trust TV in Bauchi State, he expresses hope to be reunited with his family soon. Adamu Imam completes the story.
Russian military continue invading Ukraine as war continues, and many civilians killed while more than millions fled to southern border for possible evacuation by either government from other countries or humanitarian agencies of the world. Eddie Dombraye says he can't wait to see his wife with his 5-year-old child.
I feel really bad, really bad inside. Not just because my families are trapped over there, but because war is not good. We all need peace. We need love and harmony. So you see people dying every day, and especially my family, they're trapped. My wife and a 5-year-old kid, trying to get them out. So it's really taking a toll on me. Thank God they are on the way in the train to border town, in Lviv. So if they get there safely, my only worry is that they get there safely.
As the war escalates to other cities across Ukraine, countries of the world are in support of heavy sanctions to Russia. While again, Dombraye says it's a terrible situation as he commended Nigerian government despite the challenges at hand.
I must thank the federal government for taking a bold step. Making that first evacuation really speaks a lot, and I say I really appreciate them.
Russian invasion on Ukraine is reaching 11th day with several cities under siege as humanitarian assistance continue in different Ukraine border. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now, a couple, Hezekiah Francis, his wife Josephine Hezekiah, and their 5-month-old child, Hanel Hezekiah, have been abducted from their residence at Abatua New Extension in Abaji metropolis of Abuja on Friday night. Reports say that while the man's wife and the child were released after walking some few meters away from their house, the husband is still said to be with the abductors. According to the reports, the Federal Capital Territory Police Command spokesperson, DSP Josephine Ade, earlier dismissed the report, noting that there is no such incident within the FCT. Narrating her ordeal, the victim's wife said that the armed kidnappers scaled over the fence to gain entry into the house, and while some of them surrounded the house, others who got in destroyed the burglary of their windows, from where they entered into the room. Meanwhile, Ade assured that the command will not rest on its oars in ensuring that all criminal activities are rooted in the capital city, adding that all boundaries that link Abuja with other states are being closely monitored by the vigilante officers of the command. Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in Zamfara State has paraded 18 suspects for offenses ranging from vandalism, theft, criminal conspiracy, and hibernation, among others. The public relations officer of the state's command, Iko Oche, who paraded the suspects on behalf of the commandant, Akushi Sparks, said that the Corps fight against criminality in line with its commitment to rid the state of all forms of criminalities. The report.
Zamfara State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps vowed to eliminate criminals and criminalities in the state. It is against this background that the operatives of the Corps apprehended suspected groups of criminal gangs undergoing investigation. The public relations officer of the Corps, who represented the state's commandant, said 3 suspects were arrested from Kara village of Wenki district of Gusau local government area of the state for criminal conspiracy, vandalizing electric wires, and theft. While some group belonging to a gang of thieves were also arrested at the just concluded 36th International Maulud Ceremony ground on Saturday, while they were attempting to steal phones of innocent participants. According to the Corps, the suspects hired a bus from Zaria in Kaduna State to Zamfara State to commit mischief at the Maulud ground. Those arrested include Abawada Tumaiguru, 21 years old, Aliu Shehu, 18 years old, Abubakar Salisu, 27 years old, Nasura Habibu, 26 years old, Yahaya Shehu, 19 years old, and Aminu Lawali, 18 years old.
The Corps is not relaxing in its house in ensuring that elements of criminality in Zamfara State is nipped at the bud. Here today we have 4 categories of offenders who have categorically been arrested, and preliminary investigation has been done. Here we have some group of young men who specialize in vandalization of public properties, government properties. As you all are aware, the Corps is saddled with the responsibility of provision of constant and effective protection of national assets. It's one of our core mandates. And also, we are also saddled with the responsibility of fighting against vandals.
The spokesman of the command further said 4 other suspects who specialize in pickpocketing and stealing of handsets were also nabbed by operatives of the Corps at the venue of the Maulud ceremony, among others. The public relations officer said the suspects will be charged to court when investigations are concluded. He, however, warned all miscreants that Zamfara is not a safe haven for criminals to hibernate. Therefore, asked them to relocate from Zamfara State, as the Corps is poised to arrest them from their hideouts.
We have another gang of thieves who also chartered vehicle all the way from Kaduna Zaria and took themselves to Zamfara here during the period of Maulud, also to commit other kind of mischiefs and other kind of heinous crimes. They were also apprehended by the men of Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps at the Maulud ground, and they were brought to the office here for further investigation. We deem it fit to parade them because we want the public to know what these men are up to and what civil defense have done for the society.
Now, suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police DCP Abba Kyari, who is facing a drug trafficking charge on Monday, begged the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja not to remand him in prison custody. Kyari, through his lawyer, Kanu Agabi's SAN, prayed the court to allow him to remain in the custody of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency pending the hearing and determination of his fresh application for bail, while the embattled DCP, who hitherto headed the Police Intelligence Response Team, made the requests after he pleaded not guilty to an 8-count charge in the NDLEA preferred against him and 6 others. The 6th and 7th defendants, Umebe and Ezenwane, pleaded guilty to the charge read to them before trial Justice Emeka Nwite. Now, at least 5 persons have been confirmed dead after they were trapped under a heap of sand and at Yenlami village in Bichi local government area of Kano State. A statement by the public relations officer of the State Fire Service, Saminu Abdullahi, who confirmed the incident, said the tragic incident happened on Saturday morning. He said the service received a distress call from Bichi Fire Station that puddled trench has covered 5 people trapped while working in a puddle trench to get sand with the intention to help their friend who is about to marry to build a house. Abdullahi said the recovered bodies were handed over to the police and the village head of Yenlami for necessary action. You're watching Trust News Update, coming up shortly. Why governors hesitate to sign death warrants. Details and more shortly.
The idea was to give the interim government confidence that there is somebody, a military man, who is well known, who can be accepted.
You alluded to the case of your son, Umar Farooq. Are you in touch with him?
Yes, he phones us 2 times, sometimes 3 times in a month.
As always, when I'm talking about late Abiola, I still thank my God for directing me on things to do when he gave me that leadership of this country.
Many of you honest Fulanis, you allow this man to cast aspersion on you.
You know, Zamfara is the mother of all bandits.
The biggest problem, if you permit me, is the fact that we have not been able to get the totality of our citizenry.
It's very, very difficult to have a fixed mind like that this one you will hand over to this person because you think he will do better.
I don't see myself under no circumstance ever leaving APC for another political party.
Here on the Mambila Plateau. And this is where the hydroelectric power dam is supposed to be constructed.
Most people in Nigeria are ignorant of the fact that employing a child as a maid is in fact against the law.
Access to the textile mill has been very difficult.
I believe, or I think that if you want to make money, it should be in a place where there are not plenty of people that can do what you do.
From the way things are happening now, I don't think the 2 parties will make any impact.
I've been talking about the updates concerning the campaign of Nigerian Super Eagles in Abuja.
Bola Tinubu has informed President Muhammadu Buhari of his ambition to contest for the position of president.
To be self-reliant, a blind man defies all odds to become a carpenter in Gombe State.
The country is now experiencing a 4th wave of the COVID-19 pandemic with the emergence of the Omicron variant.
Talks are ongoing between NRC management and the union.
Thanks for staying. You're watching Trust News Update. Here's another look at the top stories again. Federal government is to commence the evacuation of students stuck in Sumy, Ukraine on Monday. Plus, suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police DCP Abba Kyari, who is facing a drug trafficking charge, on Monday begged the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja not to remand him in prison custody. In other news, stakeholders have called for increased funding and enabling government policies to promote family planning projects across Nigeria. They made the call during a 3-day capacity building workshop organized by Pathfinder International to train media practitioners on advanced family planning and its sustainability. The report.
According to statistics provided by the Nigeria Demographic and Health Survey of 2018, over 10 million women in Nigeria lack access to modern family planning methods. More worrying is the fact that 28% of women in the southern part of the country have an unmet need for modern family planning methods despite high sexual activity and high fertility. In 2017, the Nigerian government, through the Federal Ministry of Health, had committed to set aside 1.2 billion naira, an equivalent of $4 million annually from 2017 to 2020 to fund the family planning programs in Nigeria. However, only 300 million naira of the agreed sum was awarded and released in 2019. It is against this backdrop that Pathfinder International brought together stakeholders in the sector to orient participants on the family planning landscape and advocacy efforts in Nigeria. The aim is to build capacity of media editors and on-air personalities from states where its advanced family planning project is currently running.
It's not about, number of children or stopping children. It's about an individual's reproductive health goals. If my goal is to have 3 children, I want them to be spaced, I want them to be healthy, and I also want to be healthy, and I also want to come out and also do other things as media advocates, as journalists, as those that are the link between information between the health workers, for instance, and the general public. You have a huge role to play, and that is why I'm happy that you're interested.
We felt that we also needed to strengthen the capacity of the media on how to report family planning issues properly. And that informed us bringing together gatekeepers who are media editors to come together and get them familiarized with what we are doing at Pathfinder International through the Advanced Family Planning Project to be able to achieve the Family Planning 2030 goal of ensuring that additional 120 women and girls have access to voluntary and quality family planning services.
Some members of the advocacy working groups in the advanced family planning states shared some of the challenges encountered when championing the cause for healthier family planning methods.
We have the challenge of policy, favorable policy, the issue of visibility, and the issue of funding. As you already know, funding actually plays very pivotal role, in what happens. It's actually funding that would help, in the procurement of commodities.
Government always look at groups like that as being a group that will challenge their capacity to deliver on the mandate that they have taken on behalf of the people, particularly in family planning. You see a government not creating a budget line, for instance, for family planning, because not understanding that family planning is also an important issue.
The communication officer of Pathfinder International, Bayo Iwola, also shared some of the wins the project had secured over the years.
Over the years, we've been able to achieve wins across all our focus areas. Talking about funding and policy in the state, we've been able to, working with the advocacy working group in the state, we've been able to get budgets allocated for family planning, and not only that, also ensuring that the budget is released to procure commodities for family planning.
As it stands, the government is yet to release the 2020 family planning budget of 1.2 billion naira, and the constant delay and inconsistency in fund discharge has created a gap of 2.1 billion naira, making it even more difficult for more women in rural communities to access family planning services and information. Sagir Ibrahim reporting for Trust TV.
Now, a breaking story reaching us says that the Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello has taken over the leadership of the All Progressives Congress. The governor is at the APC Secretariat in Abuja this afternoon. We will bring you details of that. But meanwhile, Shafiu Suleiman, our reporter who is on ground, says that heavy security presence is visible around the Secretariat. We will bring you details of that in our subsequent bulletin. Now, number of convicts on death row in various prisons across Nigeria is increasing, contributing to congestion in some cases. Legal experts want adoption of measures to address the challenge of death sentence execution. Speaking to Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman, respondents say that a total overhaul of Nigeria's justice system is imperative to speedy dispensation and execution of death sentences to serve as deterrents in combating criminal activities in the country. The report.
Section 33 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, deals specifically with right to life, a fundamental human right backed by both domestic and international laws. But there is a limitation to this fundamental right as captured in subsections 1 and 2 if a person commits crimes such as murder, treason, armed robbery, mutiny, amongst others. Complying with these provisions may be giving birth to a rising number of convictions, especially in the criminal justice sector. But those saddled with the responsibility of implementing the sentence tend to hesitate in signing such warrants. What could have been responsible for this?
Once a person is sentenced to death, a state governor is expected to sign the warrant. After signing the warrant, there's a hangman in the prison service who is supposed to, upon a date given by the prison service, the person is supposed to hang as enunciated by the judge. But so far in the last 20 years, what we are even told is that there are no hangmen in Nigerian prison.
The jurisprudence in Nigeria is such that when you look at it, it is giving you one thing with one hand and taking it away with the other hand. For example, why is the reason why a court declares the judicial sector of the government, which is an independent arm, why would it require the approval of the executive arm for it to be implemented?
And the essence of law everywhere is for deterrence, in order to checkmate people, to make people to conduct themselves within the ambit of the law.
With the mounting number of inmates in Nigeria's correctional services, which is put at 56,700 in 2015, coupled with the changing nature of crimes and criminality such as terrorism, kidnapping, and cyber-related crimes, experts say overhauling the criminal justice system is a must to capture the current realities.
Take the insurgency, for example. 13 years ago, when the Boko Haram started, there is no clear, uninhibited, fundamental prosecution and conviction of a Boko Haram member. 13 years after, we have not had that. Most of these insurgents that you call them insurgents, we only see that they are arrested and paraded at police headquarters. But we have not seen where they are being prosecuted and even convicted.
Even the dead demands justice, because the person that killed the dead should equally be killed. An eye for an eye, a hand for a hand, life for life. If in a situation whereby you have killed me and then my corpse is there, my spirit, my soul is there, and then you are saying that the person that killed me shouldn't be killed, definitely my soul will never rest in peace. My spirit will never rest in peace.
Another consequence of this is that it's going to create impunity, because people know that even after committing such heinous offense, which the penalty is death, they know at the end of the day the governor are not going to sign it. So it will encourage them to operate with impunity.
Even as pressure continued to mount from liberal international communities on the need to abrogate capital punishment, Nigeria and several others, including the United States, China, and Saudi Arabia, recognize death penalty. In Nigeria, however, absence of effective implementation mechanism constitutes an impediment.
These are some of the problems of having what I will call cultural, democratic, constitutional imperialism. That is what we are seeing now. You are importing a culture that is, an anathema, repugnant to the history, to the culture, to the costumes, to the character, and to the expectations of your citizenry.
The lacuna we are having is the ability of the governors to demonstrate sufficient political will to assign their signature to such a judgment, so that the death penalty can be carried out.
Though Amendment of Terrorism Prevention Act 2011 by the National Assembly is done to capture some contemporary crimes like terrorism and kidnapping, experts say such must be consolidated to stem the tide of ritual killings now assuming frightening dimension.
It is very, very important that our legislators should take up the gauntlet, do the needful, look at the issues pertaining to the conditions of our people, the living daily practical conditions, and then come up with updated laws such that can take care of the many issues that are bedeviling us.
It is imperative on our own political leaders, whether executive, whether legislature, whether judiciary, to look into all these issues. Any legislation or any piece of law, whether constitution or statutory, that is having any vestige of imperialism.
At the moment, There are about 3,000 inmates on the nation's death row awaiting execution without clear-cut timeline of implementation. A situation legal experts say breeds criminality and impunity amongst the society. In Niger State, for instance, many death warrants are awaiting governor's assent. Shapir Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now on the foreign scene, Russian Defense Ministry said in a statement on Monday that it will open humanitarian corridors to allow the evacuation of civilians from several Ukrainian cities experiencing heavy fighting, including the capital, Kyiv, and the besieged port city of Mariupol. Moscow said the decision is taken after a personal request by French President Emmanuel Macron to Russia's Vladimir Putin. After nearly 2 weeks of war, Ukraine and Russia are expected to meet for the third round of negotiations, with both sides said could take place on Monday. The location and exact time for the talks are unclear. The two delegations last met in the Brest region in western Belarus for 2 rounds of peace talks and agreed to have humanitarian corridors in place in the embattled cities of Mariupol and Volnovakha to facilitate the evacuation of civilians. With that, we wrap up Trust News Update, but you can connect with us via our social media platforms and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ila. Thank you for watching.